little great story about how I thought I had endometriosis, then just keep watching. I am currently 22 weeks pregnant, and I recorded my first trimester video. Go check that out. I will be posting that. Also will be posting my gender reveal, so make sure you check that out. So all 3 of these videos are going to be coming at the same time. Let's just give you guys some background story. So a couple of years ago, 2016, 2017, I started being very aware of what I was eating because I was dealing with a lot of like gut problems, getting really bloated when I would eat. I would burp a lot, like I just wouldn't feel good. I've always had like bowel movement problems, like I've always dealt with constipation and just not being able to go regularly. I just wanted to figure out like what was wrong with me because I just knew it wasn't normal. That explains kind of why I am so cautious of the things I eat, because I've been through a journey trying to figure out like why I had these like gut issues and stomach issues. So went on like a super clean diet. I cut out like gluten, I cut out meats, and then I would like work certain things back in to try to figure out, okay, is this what's causing pain, my burping, my gas, my constipation? So it was a lot of trial and error. And then in my opinion, I believe I reset my gut. There's a book called Fiber Fueled by Will, I do not want to butcher his name, so I'm not even going to try. But you should check out this book. I actually didn't get this book until maybe like a couple months ago. And it was pretty interesting because he had mentioned how a lot of this information that is like available to us now wasn't really like a thing and didn't start getting tested until like 2017. So it was pretty interesting. Like that was when I started my like clean eating journey. It was kind of pretty cool that I was like in front of like the trend without even knowing it. That kind of brings me to my pregnancy story. So I've always had a pain in like my right ovary, and I say ovary because I'd always felt like it was in that area, but I just never knew. And I would always go to my doctor, my gyno, and I would always explain the pain, and they're just like, oh, it's normal, you're probably just backed up, up your fiber. I did it for some time, and then that's kind of what led me into the clean eating and just saying, you know what, something that I'm eating clearly is causing this pain because I don't get it all the time. So fast forward, I kept trying to figure out what it was for about like 2.5 years. So we're now going to December of 2020, and I was getting off of my parents' insurance. So I said, let me just find out what's really wrong with me, see if I can find a professional opinion about this, and you know, get my insurance to kind of pay for it. So I started doing like really intensive research and really going back to my doctor and saying, no, I need you to figure out what's going on. Back in like October of 2020. She made me take a blood test on like my day 2 or 3 of my period to kind of check my eggs, if I'm remembering correctly, to check my egg count and all of that. So the first test, she didn't like the information that she got back from it. So she said, okay, I want you to come back next month, same time around your period, 2nd or 3rd day, and we're gonna run that test again. So we ran that test again. First appointment I had was September, then the next one was November because I didn't have a period in October, if I recall that correctly. I went back and she's like, hey, okay, I really want you to see a specialist. Like, your egg count is not something that it should be for a 26-year-old. So I'm like, okay, like what does it mean? And she didn't really have answers for me. She was just like, I just want you to go to the specialist because they'll probably know a little bit more. So the first specialist that I met them virtually, and they just had my information sent over. They didn't do any actual screenings on me. And long story short, the doctor said, oh, everything looks normal to me. I waited for my next appointment with another specialist. My appointment was with them December 29th, but it was in person. So it was 2 days before I was going to be losing my parents' insurance. So I'm like, okay, hopefully they don't tell me anything bad, because if they do, I'm gonna have to end up getting insurance and figuring out what this issue is. Actually, let me rewind a little bit. So the only way that I was able, in my opinion, to get my doctor to take me seriously about this pain that I was having was I started telling her like, hey, my husband and I are looking to starting a family, so I just wanna make sure I'm completely healthy. Can you run some tests? And I went in for my yearly pap smear, and I was on my period, so they weren't able to do it. So I said, well, can you like take blood? Is there anything else you can do, you know, outside of that? So me kind of jumping the gun about us being ready to start trying to conceive, I was like, this is the only way they're gonna listen to me. So it was kind of interesting because I had a dream back in March of 2020, and that is when I actually stopped my birth control, because I had a dream that my gyno said that she saw an orange mass in my like ovary, and it was like a really creepy dream. So I was like, no, I'm going to stop my birth control. I'm going to get back to my healthy eating and just, you know, just try to figure out how to clean, like have the cleanest body possible. So the second place that I met was Reproductive Medicine Associates of New Jersey, and there's a few locations. We went to the Trenton location because they had the nearest appointment, so I went with them. Met with Dr. Osmond. She drew a nice little diagram. I explained to her everything that was going on. She had my medical records from my original doctor, so she said, okay, it could be a few things. These are like the different tests that we're gonna want to start taking, and then depending on what we see, then, you know, we'll determine what tests you need to take. So she was thinking some possible things would be PCOS. I had 2 out of 3 of the signs, and the first sign is irregular periods. The second is high testosterone levels, which means like acne, hair growth, etc. And then third is polycystic appearing ovaries. So 12 or more small follicles on your ovaries when they do like a CAT scan ultrasound. So this is before we went into actual ultrasound. So she gave us like the most layman's terms of like what PCOS and like endometriosis, the relationship between like your brain and your like reproductive systems. And quite honestly, I don't remember everything, but pretty much it was something like you have 2 chemicals, FSH and LH, that like your brain sends to your ovaries, and that kind of like is what releases an egg. And if that communication is off, it's releasing too many eggs or too less eggs or something of that sort. We go into the ultrasound and she sees a cyst. So like on the screen, it was like huge. Like we both had to clarify, like, are we looking at this or like the little thing in this? So the way she explained it is it looked like an endometrioma to her. And it was the size of a softball at the time that I was there. And I kind of looked at her and was like, how could someone like not see this on an ultrasound? And her not wanting to bash another doctor, you know, or anything, was pretty much like, I'm not sure, you know, I will reach out to the doctor and see what they saw, and we will, you know, have open communication from here. But this definitely looks like an endometrioma. It's the size of a softball. It's pretty big. That's why you're in so much pain. And I'm like, okay, but I'm only in pain sometimes, you know, like, what does this really mean? So she goes, sometimes, you know, it might like deflate, and then other times it might like inflate. So they're thinking to do surgery to go in and see if any of the endometriomas or any of the something, I can't remember, I'm so sorry guys, was kind of going back into my tubes and like infecting my tubes essentially. So talk about bad news 2 days before I'm about to lose insurance. So we kind of regrouped. I asked her, you know, can you reach out to my other doctor and just kind of see like what she saw and why she didn't notice this, because I've been trying to figure this out for the past like 2 years, you know what I mean? So she was very like welcoming, warming. She goes, once we do the surgery, we can see, you know, if you have any like leakage or fallback, and then I'll determine like the next steps and if you're able to get pregnant and, you know, etc., etc. So they said a surgery is an option, or another option is to just kind of like just see what happens, because surgery is not really curing anything. It's just seeing if it's in there, because they don't know if they need to scrape anything out or what it really looks like, you know, until they go in and see it. I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of my own research and see, is there any other, my back is killing me, is there any other alternative, you know, can I try something else? So I went home, I started doing a lot of research. What is endometriosis? What is endometrioma? What are cysts? What are PCOS? And kind of just went like down a Google rabbit hole. Then I actually ended up on Instagram. I was like watching a bunch of videos. So I ended up on a page that I ended up following her. That her name is LJ's Powerhouse. She was posting like, what is endometrioma, how I eat with my endometriosis. She was doing like a lot of like dancing videos. So she was African American woman, and she was just like was posting a lot of informational stuff. And it turned out that she had endometriosis, and she already had kids, and she was also told the same thing, like, hey, you should have a surgery, da 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 da. I'll link, like, start following her. She's very motivational. She definitely like answers DMs. But she came across another girl, her blog, I believe, and how she cured, I want to say cured, or dealt with or healed her endometriosis naturally. Like, she was just eating, you know, certain foods, and certain foods she saw that was triggers. So that is what LJ did, and then she became an advocate.
Well, I'm out of breath. I decided to let Carlton in because he locked himself out. So, if I wait for how I catch my breath, this video will never get done.
So I said, okay, like, this is God talking to me. I don't have to go through surgery. It kind of goes against my beliefs on certain things. So I've always been into eating clean and stuff, so I just need to get back to that. I definitely had just strayed off. I just knew it was time for me to get back eating right and all of that. So kind of put it in his hands, prayed about it, and whatever came to me, I did. I still was doing research. I joined one of LG's Zoom calls with a doctor. He was talking about how like the surgery goes in and like just cleans it all up from the bottom, and it was a very, very good Zoom video. Like, I was so happy I joined in. It felt a little weird putting myself out there and like having my camera on and just doing all this research where I didn't even know if I really had endometriosis or not. And it was a great experience, and it's just so amazing how Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff can like connect and bond people from across the world. LG is actually in Denver, Colorado, and the doctor was in Washington. I think it was Washington. And I was like, yeah, I would, like, if I find out that I do have this, like, I would definitely fly out to you. Like, the doctor just seems so reassuring. I asked a lot of questions on the call. So we came back from upstate New York, January 5th. We came back January 5th, and I actually came back and got my period. So, that was my first and last period of 2021 thus far. Actually, because I was like, wow, let me start tracking this, you know, now that I think I might have endometriosis, you know. So on January 5th, I had 15 milliliters of blood. So I use a thing called Diva Cup. I use size 1. So you have 2 sizes for Diva Cup. Size 1 is before you have kids. Size 2 is after you have kids. And you kind of just like stick it in there, and it's like a cup. It's like a silicone cup, and you like fold it and put it in, and you're good. You don't have to change anything for up to like 12 hours. So you don't have to worry about tampons and pads and yeast infections and BV, all that stuff. It's really safe, and I love it. So first day was 15 milliliters, and then the 6th I had 1/4 of an ounce, and the same 1/4 of an ounce on the 7th. So like when you take it out, the blood is kind of like in there. I know it's gross, I'm sorry. Yeah, but that's just, you know, womanhood. I want to say like the last couple weeks of January. So my period lasted 4 days, so it was the 5th to the 9th. So for the last couple weeks of January, like, my nipples were really sore. Like, they were really tender. Like, I remember Carlton one day was being funny and like plucked one, and I was just like, whoa, like that hurt a lot. Please don't do that again. Like, I was ready to fight him. Like, it hurt so bad. Then I was just really tired, and I just didn't know why. Like, I couldn't really work out the way I was. Like, I was still working out, but I wasn't like able to push through my workouts like I normally do. My back is killing me. I'm sorry. I need to like do something. We got McFlurries, and then I think we got cookies too. And then we went to Dunkin' Donuts next door and got strawberry frosted donuts. And it was like just a weekend binge. Like, yeah, it is what it is. We weren't like thinking too much of it. Left his house. I stopped at like 20 minutes on the ride and picked up like 2 or 3 more donuts. And I'm like, this is kind of bad, but it's okay. It's a Friday night. Like, you can work it off. It's the weekend, whatever. So then I drive like maybe another like 20, 30 minutes and I get another 2 donuts. Like, so that's like 2 donuts, 2 donuts. I was like 4 donuts, like 2 cookies, 2 or 3 chocolate chip cookies, a McFlurry, and then like another donut. So I stop for another donut. And then I drive another like 5 minutes and I'm like, I'm still hungry. Like, I want something else. And I get like a soft pretzel from 7-Eleven, and I would never do that. Like, that's just nasty. It's just not, I mean, me personally, I don't think it's good, but whatever. I stopped and got a pretzel and a glazed donut or like an apple fritter or something like that. And by the time I like get home, I'm like, yo, what is wrong with me? Like, this is nasty. Like, why am I eating like this? This is not okay. Like, in one night, all these donuts, like all this sugar, what is going on? But I was just like, you know, whatever, it's fine, you know. So, they gifted me a trip to Colorado for Valentine's Day from Christmas. So we were getting ready for that trip, and it was funny. So his birthday is February 1st, and February 1st I picked up a card, and it was like, you're like a legend that's like hard to like live up to or something, but like you're a great dad, happy birthday, like something along those lines. And I'm like, oh my god, this would be so cute, like if I could get Carlton this. But I was like, I'm not pregnant, I'm not having a kid, like that would be kind of weird. I feel like that's jinxing myself to give him a card like that. So I put the card back, got him a regular birthday card. So we're getting ready to go to Colorado, and I'm like, oh, let me run into CVS, get some like travel things that I need, and let me just get like a pregnancy test just in case, because, you know, I haven't had my period for February. So this is now February 11th. For me, it was normal, like every other month I'm skipping, so I wasn't really too concerned. But I was like, let me just make sure, double check. Because my nipples were sore, I was eating really bad, I didn't have energy, so I had like other symptoms that I was like, I don't want to go to Colorado and party too much, so let me take the test. So I took the test and I got like the cheapest brand. So I actually got the like CVS brand. I still have it, this is really weird, but like really cheap. We're in the kitchen, and I have a bathroom like in my kitchen, like off of my kitchen, and Carlton's in there. We were like dreading going upstairs and like finish packing for our trip. And I didn't even tell him that I was taking a test. Like, I mean, I told him like, oh, I didn't get my period this month. And, you know, he was all excited, like, ooh, I hope, you know, what does that mean? And I'm like, no, there's no way. The doctors told us that like I'm gonna have trouble getting pregnant. There's no way. I just had my period in January. Just found all this information out in December. So he's getting all excited, like, no, we're gonna have a baby, we're gonna have a baby, we're gonna have a baby. And me being the Debbie Downer, I was like, I don't know, I don't think so, I don't think so, I don't think so. I'm in the bathroom and I take the test. And, ooh, immediately, 2 lines pop up. So I'm like, oh, is this real life, you know? So I like slide bathroom door open and I'm like, so were you serious about like, you know, you really want to try to start having a baby? He's like, yeah, like why do you think I'd be playing around lying about something like that? And I'm like, like inside my heart I'm like freaking out a little bit, and I'm like, he's gonna be so excited. So I'm like, well, okay, I think your wish just came true. So he goes, shut up, no, you picked up a pregnancy test? So I'm like, yeah. So then I like show him, and I'm like, you want me to take another one? So he's like, yeah. So we like run upstairs and we take the second one, and again, instantly 2 lines. So now we look at each other and he's like ecstatic. He's like, oh my god, I'm so happy, like, you know. So I was like, all right, I'll take another one in the morning before we leave, and then when we come back from Colorado, I'll go to the doctors, make sure it's not like an ectopic pregnancy or anything like that. So we pack, we get ready, like we're kind of talking like, no way, like are we really about to have a baby? And I'm just like, oh my god, if this is real, like I can't go have fun in Colorado, like low key, that's what I'm thinking. So whatever. So we get to Colorado. No, so in the morning I take another test, same thing, instantly. So then we get to Colorado, I pick up another like 3-pack, took it every day that we were out there. So I go into the doctor and little do you know, there's like a little embryo and it is in my uterus, and I was pregnant. So Carlton, because of COVID, wasn't able to go in, but he was on FaceTime with me, and I actually have the video, so I'll insert it here. We went to like this mountain kind of near my house, and just like thank God. Like we literally just thanked God, because just 2 months ago we were thinking that I had endometriosis, and when I went in for the ultrasound, there was no endometrioma there. There was nothing, like completely clear. So it was like really weird, but that's how God works. We will never understand, but he does. We thought it was going to be something really difficult for us, and it ended up not being. So like mentally, that kind of like scared me the first couple months of my pregnancy. Like I was really weird about working out, just kind of because of what I went through. I didn't want to like think I was upping my chances of causing a miscarriage or anything. Like it's my first pregnancy. I didn't really have a lot of understanding on how it works and everything. So I definitely didn't work out as much, and I had a lot of like negative thoughts in my mind that every day I just kind of like said, God, just get these evil thoughts out of my mind, you know, like don't let the devil in my space. Like this is a blessing, this is from you. Like, you allowed me to be able to conceive and get this far, so it really is a blessing. And that is pretty much how I found out I was pregnant story. And Carlton was ecstatic, and I was a little bit more afraid at first, just because of what I went through, you know, in the months leading up to finding out that I was pregnant. No other reason really. I just want to share my journey with you guys, because maybe some of you are dealing with endometriosis, and you know, all I can say is just put it in God's hands and just pray about it. And whatever it is that he wants for you, you will get it. You will have it. Just talk to him, put in that time with him, and all of your blessings will come. Like your purpose will make so much sense to you the more that you speak to him. My relationship with God has like excelled so much within this past year and a half, just because I've been giving him that time, giving him that space. And it's just crazy how things unfold when you really just don't worry about anything and just put it in his hands. And anything that does go wrong or left or not the way that you planned, it may not even be something bad. There might be something even better coming, you know. Like for example, I was so stressed, like why am I not working on my ebook? Why am I not delivering to people, you know, my cookbook and my workouts and all of the stuff that I thought I was supposed to be delivering? And look at me now, and I'm giving you guys a completely different story while still planning to share a cookbook and a recipe book and an ebook on how I healed my gut just through the foods that I eat. So just, you know, spend that time with him. Make sure you get the Everyday Life Bible from Joyce Meyer's. Like I love that Bible. I love it's an amplified version, and she'll have like her little side notes and like her little stories that kind of just help you realize we all have very similar stories and we all can help each other. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you check out my first trimester video and my gender reveal video, because they all will be coming out in the same week. And just kind of stay tuned. And if you are a mom, like I am so willing to read your comments, DM me about what I should, you know, because I'm building my registry right now actually. So what I should put on my registry, what motherhood is like. It's just, I want this to be a very like open communication space. I want this to be real. I already know that we are not going to share too much of our baby's life once they are here, but we'll see as time goes on, you know, what we end up deciding to share or not share. But the whole purpose of me getting on here and talking to you guys is kind of just talking about my experience, and I hope that it gave someone a little bit of motivation if you are dealing with endometriosis or anything. Like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and just put it in God's hands and everything will work out. May not be on your time, may not be when you want, but it will be the perfect time. So I hope to see you guys in my next video. I got like 18 weeks left of this pregnancy, God willing. And I can't wait to meet my baby. So make sure you check out my gender reveal, because I already know what I am having, but I won't share that with you guys. I will leave it as a surprise. So bye guys.